Hi, welcome to our channel Good New. Changes in global chip standards have caused havoc in the worldwide semiconductor industry chain, particularly for Chinese semiconductor businesses. However, the chip technology blockade has not discouraged Chinese enterprises, but rather encouraged them. Many firms have begun to build their own chips. Although these firms are not growing quickly, they have established the groundwork for the emergence of local chips. With the continued pursuit of semiconductor technology by local firms, the domestic semiconductor sector advanced once again. According to statistics, China's electronic computer output hit 230 million units in the first half of 2021, a 40% growth year-on-year, ranking first in the world. Despite the fact that China's electronic computer business is massive, the fundamental equipment is tightly controlled by others. Systems and processors, for example, rely on international purchase. The Chinese computer market will collapse instantaneously if the supplier runs out of supplies or if there is a dispute between the associated nations. The good news is that in recent years, an increasing number of firms have begun to prioritize system and processor self-development. It is now stated that a totally domestic computer would be released shortly, complete with a home system and a domestic chip. In addition, Huawei's scientific research department is working on a PC processing processor codenamed Pangu. What advances does it make? Okay, let's find out more in today's video. However, despite China's massive electronic computer business, the essential equipment is tightly controlled by others. Systems and processors, for example, rely on foreign procurement. If the supplier runs out of goods or if there is a war between the associated nations, the Chinese computer market will collapse instantaneously. The good news is that, in recent years, an increasing number of firms have begun to prioritize system and processor self-development. It is now reported that a totally home computer would be released shortly, complete with a domestic system and chip. Furthermore, Huawei's scientific research department is creating a PC processing processor codenamed Pangu. What advances does it make? Okay, let's learn more about it in today's video. Self-development of chips and systems serves two primary functions. The first is safety. Imported chips can easily be left with hardware gaps by others. If the adversary gains access to intelligence and controls equipment through loopholes, we will lose the fight. The same holds true for the operating system. Snowden, the Prismgate protagonist, stated that Microsoft has a cooperating connection with the U.S. government and will assist appropriate U.S. departments in obtaining Internet encrypted files. The second factor is the economic impact. Despite the fact that the marginal cost of chips and systems is low, the selling price and profit margin are frighteningly large. According to statistics issued by China's General Administration of Customs, the import value of chips in 2020 would reach $350 billion, making it the most expensive imported product in the country. The year-on-year growth rate of chip imports was more than 20% in the first 3 quarters of this year. The growth of the semiconductor sector is critical for economic progress. The Longxin series is now the domestic chips representative. The newly created general-purpose processor Longxin 3A5000 is based on the independent instruction set long arch and does not need to be authorized by ARM or Intel, allowing for design and production flexibility. According to official speed measurement statistics, the Longxin 3A5000 performs similarly to the first-generation Ryzen CPU. Although the results are not spectacular, they are quite enough for daily amusement and workplace usage. In terms of the system, UOS is the market leader among domestic goods, and Professor Ni Guangnan of the Chinese Academy of Engineering calls it the best domestic operating system at this moment. True, the maturity and feature set of UOS do not compare to that of Windows. The disparity between the two systems is evident, but the UOS system, like the Longxin chip, is more than adequate to suit users' daily demands. In truth, the most significant aspect of an operating system is not its design and operation, but its software development. UOS has been adapted to a range of workplace and entertainment software, including WPS, WeChat, and browsers. Some manufacturers have begun to incorporate home resources in order to develop completely domestic computers. Tongxin UOS officially announced the completion of the Longxin 3A5000 modification on December 30, 2021. Domestic computers developed in collaboration by Longxin, Tsinghua Tongfeng, and Tongxin have been installed in a number of business halls. The introduction of this device can be viewed as a watershed moment in the evolution of China's electronic computing industry. Another piece of excellent news comes from Huawei. On December 6, 2021, a person acquainted with the situation said that Huawei's scientific research department is working feverishly on a PC processor chip codenamed Pangu. Huawei has great aspirations for this new CPU, intending to replace well-known strong PC processing chips like Intel's Core and AMD's Ryzen with this new Pangu M900 chip. In Chinese tales, the creator's name is Pangu. According to tradition, the heavens and the ground were never divided in the beginning of time, and there was only darkness and chaos. For 108,000 years, our ancestor Pangu, a giant, had been born and raised in it. He awoke one day. When he opened his eyes, he discovered that everything was fuzzy and invisible. He gripped an axe angrily and struggled to swing it. The turmoil was separated abruptly by a boom. The light and pure air soared to the sky, while the heavy and turbid air fell to the ground. Huawei named its latest processor Pangu. What type of new world does Huawei intend Pangu to create? To begin with, it will undoubtedly improve Huawei's economic benefits and encourage Huawei's development and success. Because the criteria of government and business clients will be more stringent, the market for such customers should be reasonably broad and steady. If Huawei can truly open up such a world via Pangu, it is likely to significantly improve Huawei's commercial gains. With the support of its financial capabilities, Huawei is expected to fulfill its own higher objectives and broader expansion space in the future through these economic benefits. Second, it will strengthen Huawei's market position. Companies with the ability to access the government enterprise supply chain are fundamentally powerful. According to Huawei's present attitude, the company is sure that Pangu will be accepted into the government and business systems. If Huawei's Pangu joins the government and enterprises, it will almost certainly boost Huawei's market influence in the future. After all, this is the most credible certification for the quality of Huawei's Pangu processor and other hard power. So, what effect will it have? With the availability of solely indigenous electronic computers, Chinese producers will be more confident when bargaining with foreign firms. Because of their concerns about substitutes, foreign corporations will also make some concessions in product price and procurement restrictions. Domestic systems and chips have provided China's electronic computer sector with not just survival assurances, but also substantial profits. Local electronic computers, on the other hand, will take a long time to become popular items in the Chinese market, and domestic chips and systems will take a long time to replace foreign rival products. Domestic electronic computers now have a very humiliating difficulty in that they cannot join the civilian market. This occurs for two primary reasons. The first is that it lacks competition. Domestic electronic computers are not particularly appealing to most users due to a lack of gaming apps and professional application assistance. The second reason for the high price is that the product's cost cannot be decreased without mass manufacturing. Consumers will progressively reject domestic PCs when the product's quality is poor and the price is comparatively high. It is clear that the domestic electronic computer sector has steadily entered a vicious cycle of development. Domestic electronic computers, on the other hand, are not without techniques for defeating the enemy. Indeed, The experience of household electronic computers is quickly improving thanks to the efforts of the entire industrial chain. Overall, if domestic electronic computers achieve the level of user satisfaction, it is just a matter of time before domestic electronic computers replace abroad competitive products under the wave of domestic substitution. Thanks for having your watching in this video. You can add your ideas or suggestions below. Please keep following our channel and like our videos.